Well, welcome one, welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how fantastic suspensions are underneath Toyotas, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler, and joining me for another episode of the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast is the one and only Mr. Welder Extraordinaire, Jimmy Jet. How you doing, booger buddy?
Booger buddy?
Booger buddy.
I do booger welds?
Yeah. No, your welds are looking pretty good, man.
They're getting better.
They're getting better.
I think after the conclusion of this project, I will be much better at welding than I am today.
Fair. Yes.
Safe clause there.
Yes.
No, things are going good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm feeling better. I'm over in Moab today.
Yeah.
So that's going well. I'm probably
Jealous.
out on the trail with John Arns.
Cool.
Learning about some Moab stuff and getting to do some wheeling. So
That'll be fun.
Yep.
Excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
We had our Easter party this last Saturday, so we'll talk about that up in the future as well. So that'll be fun. Maybe a Thursday.
Yep.
So we got a lot of things to cover today, though.
We do. We have a few different things here. One is the reviews that we're doing, that you guys are doing, I should say, not us. You guys are doing reviews. I've already put in like 15 to 20 of my own, so I'm kind of capped now. But you guys can always leave more. So go over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review. We just passed 700 reviews.
I know. That's awesome and exciting.
Pretty crazy. So we're going to keep going. 750 is the next milestone, and which means right now we are less than 50 reviews away from giving away a full set of tires from Yokohama Tires.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
I know everybody here, all the MFers, myself, everybody wants to win these set of tires.
That's why I've put in 20 reviews.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yes.
You put them in, though, because you originally wanted to win the winch.
I was trying to win the winch. It didn't work.
No.
So hopefully they still will count and give me good odds for the tires.
Well, do you happen to be Trail Bear?
That's my alter ego, my weekend name.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe that too.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
All the Mad Hatters call me Trail Bear. Trail.
Yeah. We're still looking for Trail Bear.
We are.
Trail Bear hasn't got back to us yet. Trail Bear, you won the 700 reviews for the Onyx Elite membership and the swag pack from SnailTrail4x4 and Morphlate. So get in contact with us if your Apple podcast name is Trail Bear.
Yeah. That's what we're looking for.
Get in contact.
So we got some prizes for you. We'll get them over to you, but we need you to confirm it's you first.
Yes.
So like we said, I think it was on last Thursday's episode, just some small pieces of information, nothing outside of the norm, social security number, credit card number, date of birth, that kind of stuff. So once we get that from you, we'll be able to get you your Onyx Elite membership and some goodies from Snail Armor, Snail Trail, Morphlate, and some other companies we've been working with. So get in touch with us and we'll get that out to you.
Definitely.
Let's see what else we got going on.
And then just make sure to leave the reviews to get in for 750 for that Yokohama tire giveaway.
Yep. It's coming up quick, and you don't want to be like, what's his face, an XJ owner that missed the 700 giveaway. I thought it was XJ.
Wasn't it YJ Buggy?
No, that was YJ Nate. He was just a review.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The person that was number 701 was like Rowdy XJ something.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Got it. Okay. Well, the giveaway from Snail Trail 4x4 this month is for our gift boxes. We went over the gift boxes, the contents of the gift boxes, and partnering up with Jagged Off-Road, Jagged X Off-Road, excuse me, and for the gift boxes this month. And if you want to win a gift box from us, you need to be eligible to do so to do that, you go over to Irate 4x4, you log in, scroll down, sign up underneath the Snail Trail 4x4 forum, and all those options are there on your right side if you're on a PC or at the bottom if you're on mobile. Yep. So this month we're giving away 2 of the gift boxes to 2 lucky winners. And I think we have some other ones in the warehouse that we have to give out to some other people locally. Yeah, I don't know. Anything
Not really anything to do with the gift boxes, but one of the items in the gift box is this really neat thing called a speed strap.
yeah.
And we talked about it on Thursday, and how the one that's in the gift boxes is a 7,000 pound working load limit on these guys. Apparently, in the gift box, there's a brochure for speed strap, and I went looking through it. They have a 20,000 pound working load limit speed strap.
Wow.
So it's a 2-inch webbing that you can use to pull vehicles with.
Dang. That's
Yeah.
cool.
It's a static strap. It's not like a recovery yank on it kind of style kinetic strap.
Right.
But for a static strap that you can kind of make whatever length you want at 20,000 pound working load limit that sets together and comes apart really easily without coming apart
In knots.
and when you're pulling on it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Pretty cool idea. So I might end up reaching out to them and buying one of the 30-foot 20,000 pound speed straps.
That's cool.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's really neat. What I like about it is you can you don't have to pull the strap through all the way and then start a ratchet or, hook it up and then have somebody drive farther away, and put themselves in not a great position. The benefit of having these loops, like almost the entire strap, is you can set it up right where you're at. You don't have to arrange yourself in a certain position to, because that's the way the strap works. This one allows you to fit the strap to what works best for you.
Yeah.
Which is a really cool.
What I really like these for, because typically whenever I'm pulling a vehicle, it's usually because they're stuck in a suction surface, right?
Yeah.
If I'm pulling somebody who's stuck on a rocks, I'm usually doing a winch pull. So what I really like these straps for is for tree savers.
Yeah.
Use them as a tree saver because that's all that I really use static straps for. And it sucks because I never have the right length static strap to get around the size of whatever tree is available.
Sure.
So these allow you to make a strap that's the right size for the trees you have available as anchor points.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
That would be what I would end up using them a lot for, would be a tree savers kind of thing.
I'm still going back to my hammock. It's a perfect hammock scenario setup thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. In regards to gift boxes, though, that strap, the speed strap, was a part of our gift box. So if you want to get an opportunity to win one of those, we already told you how to sign up. But if you are changing any of your tiers this month, there's only a few more days left in this month. So if you're changing the tiers or doing any movement at all on our Snail Squad forum, you need to go into your PayPal account and cancel a current subscription that you're on. So that when you sign up for the new one, or if you did sign up already for the new one, then that's the current one that you're going to continue with. We can't cancel any subscriptions. When you sign up for a new subscription on iRate 4x4, it does not automatically cancel for you. You have to go in to your subscriptions options in PayPal and cancel it manually yourself.
Yep. So you guys only have a few more days to do that. So make sure that you're on top of it if you want to. Let's see, what else is there?
I don't think there's that much more.
It's mainly the giveaways.
Yep.
So, we got the monthly giveaway. We got the reviews giveaway. The gift boxes just went out. Just FYI, for those, if you haven't received it, you're really confused about why you got a package from Jagged Off-Road.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's why. Jagged Off-Road.
That's the gift box.
Gift box is from us.
Yes.
We partnered with Jagged X Off-Road.
Cool. Let's see. We're going to be talking a lot about 4-wheel underground suspension stuff today. So, again, thank you, Brian, for working with us, continuing to work with us. He has a lot of things in the works. I had an interesting discussion with somebody out at Stellar Built.
Okay.
About one of Brian's competitor companies.
Yes.
And the competitor company had all these different things out, and Brian 4-wheel underground didn't have them. And I was like, just because he doesn't have them out doesn't mean he doesn't have them.
Right.
I can't tell you too much, but I will tell you that Brian is doing things properly because he views it as a business. And he's pulling patents on stuff, and that's why stuff isn't released. And I will tell you that a lot of Brian's competitors are not going to be able to do what they're doing anymore.
Yeah.
Once those patents are released.
All right.
So once they're approved. So if you guys are out there looking around and you're like trying to decide between 4Wheel Underground and a competitor, do your research first off. But I will tell you that Brian has been doing this probably the longest for Toyota vehicles in particular. He knows how the geometry work. He has awesome customer service. He has a lot of different designs for pretty much anything, any possibility you would want. And he has a lot of stuff in the pipelines.
Yes.
So if you're looking at some different options and curious about, is he going to have something for my vehicle coming up soon in the future? Maybe give him a call and ask him maybe what the timeline looks like on something like that. And he'll be able to tell you, and you can make the decision whether it's worth to go somewhere else or wait for Brian to launch it. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no harm in asking.
Yep.
I mean,
all he can tell you, the worst he can say is be like, I can't tell you. That's classified.
Yeah. Or no.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not making something to 3-link a Unimog.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
I'm very disappointed though.
Yeah. Brian should
get on that. We're trying to talk him into that one. Anyways, so that's some information about 4Wheel Underground. More or less, I just wanted to let you guys know he has some pretty cool stuff coming. So some of it's right away, some of it's like a 1-year, 2-year plan, but there's a lot of really good stuff that guy has in his head. Stay tuned. There's some exciting things coming from 4Wheel Underground. So
absolutely.
Anything else, man?
No, I think that's it. Why don't we just take our quick break and listen to Brian from 4Wheel Underground,
right,
and we'll hear what he's got going, everything that he's got going over there, and then we'll jump back on the horn and talk about my 3-linking expedition.
Sounds good. We'll be right on back after a quick word from Brian.
At 4Wheel Underground, we have something for everyone's 79 through 04 Toyota vehicle. Whether you've got a Chevy Dana 60, 05 and up Super Duty, fabricated, FJ80, or mini truck axles, we got you covered. 3-link, 4-link, parallel, and triangulated suspension kits, we've got you covered. Under-bed coilover mounts, through-bed coilover mounts, trailing arms, cantilevers, custom-tuned coilovers, and air bumps, we've got you covered. Frame stiffeners, subframes, skid plates, shock towers, and more to come. Make sure to use coupon code SnailTrail at 4wheelunderground.com because we've got you covered.
Welcome back, everybody. Hopefully you had a good time listening to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Brian from 4Wheel Underground. We're going to be talking about today for our campfire discussion. Jimmy has got some more work done on Samantha.
I did. Exciting.
And I kind of sort of went car shopping.
Yeah.
So I've got a little bit of feedback there, not a whole lot. I'm more curious about the suspension and how that's going with Samantha. So I'd like to start there.
Okay. We can definitely do that.
Mhm.
Let's see. So I never remember exactly where we left off, but last time I think we were at the point of what I had the skid plate in place and the bracketry was tack welded to the frame links and everything was kind of organized and sitting in place kind of where it should be. And that tells me roughly where my axle is going to be going.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where it was. And so
and you pretty much, once you're at that point, your axle is going to be located typically within about 4 to 5 inches along the frame rail.
Sure.
So now you get to kind of start honing in according to how all your steering and your panhard and everything packages,
exactly.
the coilover mounts, bump stops, where everything goes in order to figure out within that 4 to 5 inches where exactly it needs to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I was talking with Brian, I was asking him, like, what is the length of my link? Like, what does my link, how long should my link be?
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking tube lengths, but roughly it was like 45 inches eye to eye.
Okay.
And I'm at like 42 inches, I'm at 44 inches eye to eye. So I was like, okay, I need to move it about an inch.
All right.
To whether I'm moving the frame axle or the frame link parts back an inch, or the axle forward an inch or half of them, half an inch either way.
Yeah.
But then he also said, if you want to run 40s, you need to push it another like 2 or 3 inches farther.
Oh, so you really need to be like 4 inches
Kind of
further than what you are
than
now.
what I am.
Okay.
And so Husman and I were there at that time, and we were talking about like, okay, if we're going to move 3 to 4 inches, how do we do it?
Yeah.
What do we want to do?
Uh-huh.
The easiest way to do it is move the frame links backwards,
Okay.
right? Because
Okay, go ahead.
Well, because the axle's in a really good spot where I don't have to modify anything for the most part for any of my up travel.
Okay.
If I push the axle farther forward towards the front bumper of the vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
I'm now starting to run into my motor mount. I'm getting close to like maybe the alternate. Well, no, not necessarily that, but the pulleys are kind of getting close. The bar, the tie rod bar and the panhard bar and the drag link are all kind of getting pushed farther forward. So now if I push too far forward, now I've got to move my steering box farther forward. And so I can keep all those things parallel and equal to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot more work
Yeah.
that goes into pushing the axle forward compared to pushing the frame link brackets back.
But so the if you want to run 40-inch tires, you need another 2 to 3 inches. Wasn't that you need the 2 to 3 inches of moving the axle forward in order to clear the tires of your links and on turning, as well as clearing the tub and body?
That probably is part of it. I'm not worried about the body.
Yeah.
I'm figuring I'm going to have to cut this truck up
Okay.
anyway.
All right.
And so I'm more worried about where the axle is going to go than how the body is going to fall on top.
Okay. Are you going to have the body mounts to worry about? Like, I'm just thinking
Yes.
if you're, I think the whole point of going bigger tires is you need space between things, not necessarily just longer links, right? I don't think it's necessarily a geometry issue of
No.
going bigger, right? It's more of it's just space for the big ass tire.
Yes. I think yes, it has to do with that too.
Okay.
The only body mount I'm concerned about is the driver's side very front corner.
Mm-hmm.
And that one is going to start getting into the way for my power steering box.
Yeah.
Because if I'm pushing things so far forward, that power steering box is going to more or less want to take the place of that body mount.
Body mount. Yeah.
All the other side body mount doesn't have anything that's really going to get in the way. I don't think my turning is going to get near there. That is a concern. And I might be putting spindles and stuff on it and some tires and things to try to see what's going on after I get the fact of like, here's where I think my axle's going to be. So we still had a lot of work to get there. Even though it's going to be more work, I would rather push my axle forward and get a better approach angle than move the frame links back and have it just sit where it sits.
Yeah. I think that your easiest solution is just going to be full hydro.
Yes. Yes, it is. But I'm not doing full hydro.
Okay,
I want to keep
fine.
it street legal. I'm also not sure if I'm going 40s or not.
I think full hydro is street legal, just FYI, in California.
I
don't think it's recommended.
I don't.
But I don't
It's
think there's any
definitely
law
not
against it.
recommended. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into that law too much, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm going 40s. I'm not sure what I'm doing tire size yet. I would love Yokohama to step on board with this rig, and maybe that will be in some conversations in the future. But at the moment, I have a set of my old Toyo 37-inch tires that I'm going to use for mock-up purposes.
Okay.
And just kind of get an idea. And I might try to set it up to have the clearance if I ever do choose to go 40s or what. So I'm not sure what yet I'm going to do. But right now I have a set of 37 13.5 Toyos on wheels ready to be bolted up to something to start the mock-up process. So we'll see. But I do want to move the axle forward, I think is my game plan. That involves me making a new motor mount because now I'm putting the axle not where it's supposed to be. And one of the next hurdles that we were going to come across is how is all the linkage on the front. So while the week passed from when husband was over one time to when he came back, I fully welded up the skid plate.
Nice.
So I welded both sides of the exterior all the way around and got that cleaned up. Sanded down the bottom side because there's a piece of UHM plastic that goes on it. So I sanded that so it's smooth so the plastic doesn't have these bumps or ridges or anything. And then sanded down some of the top side where the link is going to, or for the bracket that's going to hold the T-case.
Okay.
Otherwise, I left all the welds there.
Nice.
There's some good ones and some bad ones. But yeah, it was fun to weld that up. It was a fun welding project to do, which was, I think, is another level of fun in this whole assembly. Is just there's going to be some good welding stuff to do and the trailing arms coming up and all kinds of things. So it's just good practice. You know, I was adjusting the welder a little bit because at one point I burnt through it.
Oh, yeah.
And just caused a hole. And I was like, okay, I guess I should turn it down a little bit. And yeah, and just it's also thin and really precise in where I was welding that it was harder for me to do like a bead or some good like quarter rolls or stacking dimes or whatever you want to call it. But I had some good overlap. So that's what I was trying. So that was fun. Cleaned up a lot of it though. And then, so I was able to put that back in place and sort of set that up and look at that. But then when husband came over, we roughly set the knuckles up on the vehicle.
Okay.
I am using Trail Gear 6 shooters and trunnion bearing eliminators.
Okay.
And so we put in the races for the the trunnion bearing eliminators because the trunnion bearing and the eliminators use different kind of races.
Yep.
So there was no races in the vehicle in the axle at the moment. So we just put in the new races, and then we put together the knuckle very loosely. We didn't like make it so that it's the perfect pound rating for when you're steering or put any of the shims in there. We just hand tightened the things together so that it could sit on the axle without falling off. Okay. And we could start looking at the steering components. That took us a little bit of time because I bought this stuff like 3 years ago and, you know, in this process of building Samantha, and eventually was like, I'm tired of this stuff sitting out on the floor and I'm not working on this vehicle. So I made like I dedicated a shelf in the shop to Samantha. And so it was like, okay, I think the steering's in that box and I think some of the stuff's in this box. And I don't know where the steering arms are. And so it was all in the general area, except some things were kind of moved around. Like I pulled a knuckle out for some reason. It was like on the other side of the shop and not entirely sure why.
Okay.
But it took us a little time to figure out everything. And then I went and pulled out like the velvet and the back parts, the gaskets and seals. And husband's like, we're not going to use all that. Like, what are you doing? I was like, thought we were going to set the knuckles up. And he's like, no, we're roughly setting the knuckles up so we can just start getting an idea of how things are going to run. I was like, okay, fine. So we set the knuckles up. We tightened the bottom ones and then hand tightened the top steering arms on. Like used two bolts on the 6, and 2 bolts of the 4 on the bottom.
You put in all the cone washers.
No.
Oh, come on.
We put in all the studs.
Okay.
We put in all the studs. And we got those like super strong, or I got those super strong studs from Trail Gear.
Yeah.
And the bottom ones are very long. Like,
yeah,
very long.
Yeah, I think I remember that too on mine, that they stuck down a long ways. And I was like, I don't know how I like that.
Yeah. So I think when everything's said and done, I'm just going to cut them.
Yeah.
Because I compared them to Bobcat. Like I took it over to Bobcat and held it next to Bobcat. And it's like another inch longer than what's exposed on the bottom of Bobcat. And Bobcats are like already ground down and like funny angles and bent. It's like I'm gonna have to cut that thing off to get everything off. So I think I'm gonna, once it's all said and done and torqued and set up right, I'm just gonna cut them off at where they lie.
Yep.
So that we'll figure that out when I get there. At the moment, it's not going anywhere. Don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we originally set the steering up for the tie rod to just see, because that's like the closest thing to the axle and the closest thing to the engine. And we set the FJ80 tie rods into the steering arms, and then Hussman actually brought over some PVC pipe.
Oh, nice.
And so we set the PVC pipe, cut it to a length that fit fairly well, and then somewhat straightened the arms as much as we could. And then the pipe was a little large for the diameter of the threads. So we like wrapped some blue like hand towels, shop towels around it, and then wrapped some blue painter's tape around that just to make it a little girthier so that the pipe would hold a little better.
Okay.
And then we articulated the steering, and I hit the axle panhard bar link. I was like, what? This is weird.
The axle panhard bracket. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's on the passenger side,
On the
right?
passenger side.
Okay.
Yep. The one I had to cut down.
Yeah.
I'm like, something's wrong here. So I sent a photo to Brian, and he's like, yeah, I suggest you put the steering on the underside of the steering arm. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep, that makes a lot more sense. Just sort of, I had a
Yeah,
conversation.
you don't have leaf springs there anymore.
I don't have leaf springs. I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, okay.
It's sort of lower in the scheme of things, but it's not going to be that much lower.
As long as it's not like on the lower 30% of your pumpkin.
Yeah.
You're fine.
No, it's still on the upper part of the pumpkin.
You're good.
It'll be fine. It'll be protected out of the way. The problem is there's a taper on the ball joints. And so I can't just
put them in from the bottom.
Put them in for the bottom because there's a taper on there. I called Brian and I talked to him about it. I'm like, how would you suggest I fix this? Like, do I drill it out like with a much larger drill and then weld in like some tapered sleeves if they make a thing?
Yeah.
Should I just get a reamer and just ream it as is?
Bolts and heims?
And go, or ream it straight and go bolts and, or drill it straight and go bolts and heims.
Yeah.
That is an option. I think I'd just rather stay ball joint, just because. There's also, I guess, the Chevy ball joints are very similar to the FJ80 ball joints.
Yeah.
Their tapered shank is larger.
Okay.
The ball is larger.
Okay.
The threaded part is ever so slightly smaller.
Oh.
And we're talking 23 millimeters to 7/8.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Which is, it's like 0.01 difference or something like that. I don't remember the decimal point. What is the decimal points for 7/8? Do you read?
I don't know.
Offhand? I don't know. What Uncle Pool, where'd those gauges go?
They're on my desk at home.
Yeah, they're on my desk at home too. But if I recall, like 23 millimeter was like 0.9 something.
Okay.
And 7/8 is like 0.875 or something, so it's like so marginal that it doesn't matter. So there's that option, which if I'm going to be reaming the axle or the steering arms out, there's a point at which you ream it to a certain depth, and now you have some that's reamed out to fit the ball joint in the new area, but that tapered shank is not hitting, some of the areas not touching in the steering arm because it's reamed the other way now.
Yep.
Right. So if I'm going to be reaming it out, the larger shank of the Chevy version might be better because I'll have to ream it deeper and it might completely ream out the entire area. Yeah. So more of that shank is going to fit into the steering arm.
Okay.
So I'm weighing all these options here. I'm also trying to figure out, I've been calling around to a bunch of places to see who can make me a custom length tie rod.
Oh.
And really it comes down to, I called Trail Gear. I called Rough Stuff. I called Parts Mike. I called Hot Metal Fab. I called all these people. Nobody has the tap.
Oh.
To tap the bar.
Didn't you have this issue a long time ago?
I did for Bobcat. Same sort of problem.
Okay.
And
that's right, because you don't want to do bungs.
Well, everybody suggested just buy the bungs, buy the bungs. And my 2 cents is, so when you get the bungs, you are using a 1.5-inch tube quarter wall,
Mm-hmm.
and then you weld in the bungs.
Okay.
Because it has usually it's a 1-inch ID at that point, and the bungs are made for that 1-inch ID.
Yeah.
If I'm not using bungs, I'm using 1.25 tube quarter wall.
Okay.
And then I just tap it. So it's this, in a way, it's ever so slightly smaller, but it's roughly it's either, I don't know how much stronger or not stronger it would be, but to me, it seems like it's tighter. It's a smaller tube, same wall. It's probably a little bit stronger.
Okay.
That might not be true because there's weird physics that go into this. And sometimes ever so slightly bigger like same wall might be stronger one way or another. In theory, if you think about it, bigger tubes stronger, but I don't think that's always the case.
Yeah, you'll save a little bit of weight going that way.
And more importantly, I'm saving a little bit of space.
That's right. That's what we talked about. That's why. Because I was like, I think there's more things that are built and designed for 1.5-inch tube than there is for 1.25-inch tube.
Yeah.
So like steering clamps, steering brackets, tie rod, whatever you need to like weld on there for a hydro assist or something. But like, it doesn't really matter 1.25 to 1.5 for like a hydro assist bracket on your RAM. But yeah, you're saving that space for packaging.
Yeah. So I actually messaged Lawless Corey. And it was like, hey, I know Walter has all this stuff.
Yeah.
Does it have a 23 millimeter tap? I would need if they do, I need a left and a right one. Tell me how much.
Yeah.
And he sent me a few pictures. They don't have it. It goes 22, 24.
No
shit. Like, whoa. Like out of all the companies out there, I figured Walter would be the answer. But unfortunately, this was not the case. So Hustle Nuts actually sent me 2 pictures from Amazon of 23 millimeter drill bit or taps. They're about $30 a piece.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I was looking at it and I found bungs ranging from like $18 to $50.
Okay.
And that doesn't include any of the piping.
Yeah.
And
any of the tubing?
And the tubing. Yes. Thank
Pipes
you.
for poop.
Pipes for poop. Tubing. And I did have a few people try to suggest that I do aluminum.
Yeah, there's that option too, I guess.
I was talking to Bart's Mike, and Park's Mike was saying, or one of his cronies or whatever it was, but they were saying that their bungs are $50 a piece.
Okay.
Which to me sounds
sounds high.
Very high.
Yeah.
Sounds high. So, but if I wanted to get an aluminum 1.5-inch, and then they'll just use their lathe or whatever, and they'll create the threads inside of that, that's like $150. So I'm like $50 more than buying 2 bungs, and I can get an aluminum. The thing is though, that I'm also going to need this roughly for my drag link. And if I get these taps, I can replace the bar on Bobcat.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of leaning that direction. Like I'm just going to buy.
I would get the taps at $30 a piece, something that nobody else has.
Yeah.
Like I would go that route. You obviously have a use for it. And my rule of thumb is if you're going to use it, if you already have plans to use it more than twice, so 3 times or more, it's going to pay for itself.
Oh yeah.
And you have 4 uses technically. So
and this way, all I'm doing is buying tube.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not buying bungs. I'm not buying fittings. I'm not buying anything else.
Yeah.
I already have the FJ80 tie rods. So if I was going to go buy the 7/8 tap for the Chevy ones, then I'm having to buy Chevy tie rods or Chevy bungs or any of that. So I'm kind of leaning towards just getting the taps unless somebody has some feedback. DM me, Instagram, because that's faster than snail mail. We're going to be a month behind at that point if you send it on snail mail. So DM me on Instagram. Why should I go with 1.5-inch tube and bungs over 1.25 and FJ80 just tapping style? If there's an advantage that I'm not thinking of, please tell me.
Yeah.
So that took a little bit. That took some searching around to figure that out. So I'll let this. When is this coming out on Monday? I probably won't order anything then till after Monday. I'll wait to order the taps until somebody persuades me another way and I get some bungs or something. But once we loosely put it underneath, put it up as high as we can. We got like 2 threads on top of the thread parts of the FJ80 axles, and where it sits, it currently collides with my differential. But I think when it got snugged up and pushed up higher, and it's
probably clear.
more of where it actually should be, I don't think we're gonna have an issue.
Nice.
Yes.
And is it colliding on full lock then?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And the stops are nothing's in, so we actually might be turning it farther, and it's loose. So like it's colliding at full lock at like when the knuckle hits my steering stop, which that is not going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be a problem. We're going to have clearance when it's up in the right spot. The PVC pipe is 1/16 larger than 1 1/4.
Okay.
So whatever that math out to be, 5/16.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, now we put the power steering box on after that, and we just started looking at and put the pitman arm loosely on there and just started like, okay, where's the drag link going? Where's the pitman arm going to fit? How is this going to line up? As it sits right now, we're going to have a collision with the oil pan.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to go this high, which I'm at what I think is full bump, just because the way things are sitting at the moment, who knows when I move the axle farther forward where it's exactly how much it's going to change. We're colliding with the oil pan, but with the pan hard bar, you can bend them. So we could bend it down, flatten it out, bend it back up, do whatever. So I'm not too concerned about that one.
Yeah.
The drag link, where we put the loosely positioned the steering box was, we put the box for the back bolt of the steering box to go into the front bolt on the frame.
Okay.
And then we leveled it out so that I could attempt to use a flat pitman arm.
Okay.
And that's a guess of where the steering box is going to go. So from there, we just kind of positioned just kind of looked at it and saw how it would be, and then see where the frame side bracket for the pitman arm is going to lie, and kind of got an idea of how that's going to lay out. And where it currently sits seems to be pretty good.
Nice.
So that said, it might work as is, and maybe we're just going to leave it, but I still think we're going to push everything farther forward.
Okay.
I'm going to start building a new engine mount on the passenger side. If we push things so much far forward, I might have to cut off the body mount on the driver's side front and figure out a new way to mount that. However that works out. Yeah, and then maybe extend the frame out in the front a little bit.
Wow.
To just I think that's not a half bad idea, because it would make a fantastic spot for a winch setup, and it just might allow me to set the power steering box in a better position.
It wouldn't be that bad of a project either, because the frame right there, it's the 2x3 square tubing, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's super easy to put in there and get together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be I have a chunk of that tube already that I'm going to use for the rear bumper.
Yeah.
And set it up very similar to how I did Bobcats. And go forward. So to box in that frame, extend it out just a little bit, maybe enough so I can fit a winch plate and set up there, and use that as a squared bumper setup to start putting tube off of. I mean, it's not a half bad idea, and it'll give me more freedoms on where that power steering box is going to end up.
Yeah.
So that's another idea that I have. In the meantime, I need to plate my frame, because really I can't do any of this. I can't put any of this stuff on until any of the frame brackets in the front until the frame's plated.
You don't want to put all your brackets on and then plate it?
And then cut it off and plate it again? No.
Just put the plating over the brackets. It'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a few things I've got to cut off. Then I've got to grind down where the plate's going to go, and then weld those on.
Nice.
And then paint it up and get that going. My other task was to get the tubing and taps and stuff for the tie rod and the drag link. But I'm going to, as I said, I'm waiting until after Monday. This episode's released so that you guys can give me feedback on what you think I should do. $60 for a pair of taps, or start spending some money on some bungs. And tube is tube regardless. I've got to buy it, whether it's this one size or 3 inches shorter. It's not going to make a difference.
No.
But and I can't buy like Trail Gear has preset ones already available, and my axle's wider than them. So I maybe could buy one of those as my
your upper link,
my drag link.
Oh, your drag link. Yeah, maybe.
Because my axle's 10 inches wider. So we went outside and we measured Bobcats, and we went, here's what Bobcats is. We need one 10 inches wider.
Okay.
And then we measured my drag link, and we went, we need one 5 inches wider because it's only on one side. It's going to be longer because the other side's
fair. Yeah.
Not a part of the axle.
It's not moving at all.
Exactly. Well, it is, but it's not. It did not
the
move.
Location is not moving.
Yes.
Semantics. Get out of here.
Yeah. So I have the rough lengths of what I want.
Yeah.
And so but the tube is gonna, whether I'm adding bungs into it or just tapping it, that's not gonna make a difference in price.
Yeah.
The difference is gonna be whether I buy 1.5 inch tube or 1.25 inch tube, or if I'm buying bungs or buying taps.
I think you need to go with the tap option. I mean, even at $15 a bung, you buy 2 bungs, and that's the cost of 1 tap. Like it's still your.
I'm spending $60 on bungs.
Yeah, at the cheapest price for bungs.
At the cheapest price.
Yeah.
And then I still need, at that point, I would still need to buy 2 more bungs for Bobcat. Where if I spend roughly $60, I can make all 3 of the bars that I need.
Yeah. And I really like the simplicity of having 1 bar threaded rather than having another thing welded in there. Now, granted, if you weld it properly, it's all 1 bar.
Right. Yes.
But, it's just...
how many times have we seen one crack or break or spin?
We have one here.
Yep.
In the office or in the studio right now.
We do indeed. Yeah. So... That's where Samantha's sitting currently.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of work is, unfortunately, I don't think a lot of work is going to happen on her this week. Just getting ready. It's spring break, so the family's home.
Yeah.
And they don't want me walking away or whatever. As much as I would, at this point, I'm like, I need to go work in the shop and get away from you people. Though the mini assistant will be back on... actually, the mini assistant came back, but by the time this aired, but yeah, just getting at this point, I'm getting ready for the Easter party, and that's sort of our focus, and not Samantha this week.
Nice,
but that works out well because I don't think Hustle Nuts was free this week anyway.
Yeah,
and we'll just circle back next week, and we'll by that time I'll have your guys' feedback, and we can start the ball rolling again and move forward, and. Maybe I'll start figuring out things to do for a new engine mount, but Husman was already like, you're just going to build something up here and wrap it over with a bar and put a new link over there and a mount on this side, and then there's that one little bar that holds up the air intake.
Oh, yeah.
Manifold.
Intake manifold, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, that's simple. You're just going to cut that in half, and it's going to weld right there on the top, and then you can slide this thing a few inches farther forward. And I'm just like,
I'm glad
you
draw that out for me.
Yeah, draw me a picture. But I get it, sort of. But it's kind of an interesting idea how he has it. It's hard mounted on the frame, hard mounted on the block, soft mounted on the frame, which is opposite than it is now.
Okay, yeah.
Where it's hard mounted on the frame and then the big bushings in the middle. So. But it makes sense.
Yeah.
I get it. And I think, like I said, pushing everything forward will be a more desirable off-road experience. But it's going to be more work.
Yep. I think it's more work. I think it'll be worthwhile, though.
Yes.
You're here. You're in the spot to do it at.
100%. I have the body off. I've got all the room in the world to work around.
It's the easiest it's ever gonna be.
Worst case scenario, I have to remove the engine. Yeah. Bummer. That's not going to be difficult. There's I have it stored there. I don't even think it's bolted in. I think it's just literally sitting on the engine pads. Yeah.
That's funny.
Maybe one bolt on each side in, but yeah, it's not. If I'm going to build this to be a wild rock crawler, now's the time to do it.
For sure.
Take the extra time, put these things in the position that I want to put it in, instead of being like, this is the easy route. I'm going to do that because I have time. I'm going to build it better now.
Yeah.
Than saying, oh, I should have done that.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, so I'm excited to continue on. It's been awesome to have the customer service of Brian there, hey, why is this tie rod hitting your upper panhard link on the axle? And he's like, you're an idiot. You didn't read the instructions. We put it on the underside on your vehicle. I'm like, oh yeah.
Got
Okay,
it.
Thanks. I looked at the instruction. I'm like, oh yeah, right here. Damn it.
That's funny.
Husband and I were just in the element, like here's where the panhard bar goes. Here's where the bracket goes. Here's where the tie rod goes. It's just like, put it in. Let's look at this. And we're like, wait a second. Yeah. But, that was funny. So, if I am going a little larger, I think I might have to get new links, because the links that I bought years ago, I'm not sure, like if I loosen them and extend them out,
There's enough thread.
I don't know if there's enough thread, or I'm not quite sure what the rule of thumb is on how much thread you're allowed to expose per length of total thread. Like, should you not exceed half of the thread available?
I think the rule of thumb is you want as much thread as the diameter of your shank.
Okay.
Right. So whatever the diameter of your shank is, that's how much thread you want.
So if it's a 1 inch shank, you need a minimum of 1 inch thread engagement.
I think so.
I've heard
that's
that
what
before.
I've heard. I don't know, but that's kind of the rule for fasteners.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be the same rule for link heims or link joints.
Yeah.
So
there's a possibility that I might need to buy longer tubing to make longer links.
That's not a big deal though. Making longer links is
pretty easy.
Yeah.
And I might know a guy.
Yeah. There you go.
Just call up my buddy Brian at
There you
4Wheel
go.
Underground. I need some links, man.
Yep.
I'm sure he's got it all there, and who knows? Maybe
he actually doesn't. He doesn't sell links because the shipping is too retarded. Sorry, bad word. Is
ridiculous.
too ridiculous for what you can get from just sourcing the tube yourself locally.
He probably. I wonder if I even have the bungs. I have the.
He should have included the bungs with the with the joints and everything.
Yeah, I have the joints. I know that. I'm not sure. I haven't looked to see if I have the bungs because I already had links.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'll just pull this out and put these ones in, make it look shiny.
There you go.
And so I just need to figure that out, because right now the ones I have are all the way in.
Okay.
Like maybe an eighth to a quarter inch of thread showing.
Yeah, and there's typically 3 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 3 inches.
Yeah.
About 3 inches
Maybe,
of thread on
2.5
Yeah.
ish somewhere. So I think I could push it an inch and be comfortable.
Yeah.
The question is that going to be enough?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I might have to just buy more tube and weld in the bungs that are provided and go from there.
Oh, darn. Another welding project.
Bummer. Yeah. But that's just another small hurdle that I have to figure out once I figure out where the axle is going to lie.
Okay.
But I think that's really my next step, is now that we've kind of set this up and seen where things are and set the steering up and how all the steering is going to work with the panhard bar, I think I need to now figure out how to move the axle to actually where I want it.
Okay.
And then do this process all over again in a way.
And that's kind of what we talked about last time, is you kind of get everything in about where you want it, and then you change one variable and it changes the whole thing. You have to move everything around, then retest it, change one variable, change everything around, retest it. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think the frame brackets for the links and the cross members and skid plate setup that I have, I like that position.
Good.
I like where it's sitting.
Okay.
So I think that's set. I think I'm considering even just tack welding those brackets onto the frame.
Oh, cool. Mm-hmm.
And leaving it there where it is. And then, like I said, moving the axle forward to figure out where that position's going to lie. Because I like where the cross member setup is.
Yeah.
And so I think that one's going to that's static now. And the front's going to be more dynamic. Figure that out.
Nice.
Yep.
Cool. That sounds like you made actually quite a bit of work. I mean, you're at the stage right now where it's not a whole lot is really happening on the vehicle, but you're figuring out a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot going through the brain.
Yeah.
Not a lot happening on camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like it should just be, literally Husband and I should hit live recording on like a podcast or a live stream while we're sitting there and just literally sitting on our little stools, rolling around the front of the car talking about things.
Yeah.
And talking about, well, what if we moved this? Or how do we change that? Or how does, if we move this forward, where's our first point of contact? Or like all that stuff. Like if we change, the pan hard bar bracket instead of straight and we bent it, how does that affect us if we, can we go up more? Right.
Yeah.
And it's just all these things that come into account, and nothing on camera is being recorded because we're just talking, so it is kind of interesting, but I think there'd be a very select few people who would be interested in listening to that and watching us wheel around a car compared to how did we complete it?
Yeah.
How did we solve this problem? Yeah. All right.
Well, cool.
So you went shopping. So does that
Sort
mean
of.
The lemon law is coming into effect, or?
It's still under processing.
Okay.
They finally got all the repair orders yesterday, Monday.
Okay.
So they got all the repair orders from the dealer of what's been worked on and what they've done. And the dealer literally was in contact with Ford corporate for the last repair to say exactly how to do this. So they have all the paperwork now. Now it's just a matter of them looking over the file and being like, okay, well, did we try and repair this enough times? Was it repaired the way we recommend, kind of thing? Which I think it all was. So from there, the secretary was getting a little antsy on Friday. She wanted to get out of the house.
Okay.
So I was like, well, let's go check out some vehicles. Like, we're kind of curious about some different vehicles and what's out there and available. We wanted to look into a couple things. The few things that were kind of high-ish on our list is we're looking for something that is at bare minimum all-wheel drive. So no two-wheel drive.
Okay.
Something that's a medium-sized SUV. We don't want something as big as like a Suburban or a Tahoe. But something about like the size of a Highlander, one of the newer Highlanders, something that size.
What's the difference between a Highlander and a 4Runner?
At the 4Runner,
is it just frame on body? Primarily?
Maybe. They're about the same size interior
or body on frame, excuse me.
Yeah, frame on body.
Dyslexia.
They're about the same cargo interior wise. But yeah, I think that might be it.
It's just a unibody versus a frame.
And I think the Highlander is all-wheel drive, not four-wheel drive. I think 4Runner is four-wheel drive. I could be wrong about that. We haven't gotten to look at a Highlander yet. Okay. So, but Highlander's on our...
Yeah. Brandon, call us.
Let us know. Highlander is on our list to look at. But we went and checked out the new Honda Passport.
Oh, okay.
So the new 2025 Honda Passport is just being released. It might be the 26 actually right now. Model year being released.
Probably not.
You don't think so? April, May, June?
No, isn't it normally like October?
I feel like it's like mid-year, like June or July maybe. Anyway, so the brand new passports that are just coming out, they've just been announced, just been launched. Dealers only have like one each. They're going after the 4Runner market.
Yeah.
So we went in to check those out to see what is the interior space like, what amenities do they come with, do we like the way everything's laid out, and I gotta admit the interior is fairly nice. I think we want more amenities than the one that we saw.
Sure.
But they didn't have any literature, anything like that showing the different trim levels.
Saying what was available.
Yeah, it was just the one vehicle in the showroom. That's all they had. And they said, we're not probably getting another one for another 3 or 4 weeks.
Dang.
I was like, okay. But it looked good. I like the body lines of it. I like the look of them. And it comes with the 3.5 liter V6.
Okay.
So it had something like 350 horsepower in it. And more importantly, there was a ton of leg room for driver and rear seat.
Oh, Behind the driver.
Yep. So 5-person seating with a cargo area behind that.
Does it? The Passport I've seen and been in have 3rd row seating. That one didn't.
This one did not.
Okay.
Yeah. It just had the cargo area, 5-person seating.
Cool.
So we were checking it out, and I set the driver's seat in what would be comfortable for me to drive in. And then I went around and sat in the back seat, and I was like, oh my God, there's so much space here.
Nice.
This is really nice, really comfy. So we realized that the interior space of the Passport is what we're looking for. The seating space of the Passport is what we're looking for. But we wanted to see more of the different trim levels.
Sure.
So anyways, Passport looking pretty good.
All right.
Then we went over to Toyota to try and look at a Highlander.
Okay.
No Highlanders in.
Oh.
They said that they did have one of the brand new 2026 4Runners in though.
Ooh, okay.
So we went in our 25 4Runner, sorry.
Yeah.
So we went and checked out the 25 4Runner. They had one in, and it was funny. The guy was like, it just got dropped off this morning, so I know it's here. Nobody's gotten it yet. So let me take you over and we'll check it out. So we go back way on the other side of the freaking lot to like the other building, because there's that Meta Toyota. They've got 2 buildings there and a massive, like 2 dealership lots. So go all the way to the other back side of the other lot, and he goes, it's not here.
Was it out on a test drive?
No. He goes, I think I know where it is. Follow me. And we go walking all the way back across.
Oh, no.
To the detailing center, which is on... From that corner, it's the opposite corner, not catty corner, just opposite side of the whole freaking property to the detail center. And it's literally back in the furthest corner of the detail area. So we go over and check it out. And I got to say, I'm not impressed.
Really?
Yeah. I like the body lines a lot.
Okay.
I really like the body lines on the 4th gen Tacos and the new 6th gen 4Runners. Really like them. I'm not too happy with how they did like the fender flares, the body accessories. So like on the back window, where the molding is for the handle, the button to open up the lift gate, and then your buttons to roll up and down the window.
Okay.
It just seems all super chintzy plastic, and like it moves. It's not solid in there. I was like, I don't know. And then the buttons I wasn't a big fan on for rolling up and down the window. I thought it looked pretty cheaply done. And talking to Brennan, he goes, that's how the 5th gen 4Runner is. I was like, oh, I haven't noticed that on the 5th gen 4Runner before, but I don't like it. And then we went around. He got the key, opened up the doors. And I went to open up the door, and the whole freaking handle moves up and down.
What?
And I was like, what? And so I kind of grabbed it and kind of twisted the handle. And sure as shit, it twists like 10 to 15 degrees. And I was like, this is going to snap off. Like, what the hell? And it's that same kind of cheap plasticky feel that the fender flares and the back window handle is.
Interesting. I wonder if it was just poorly assembled.
Maybe early model, poor assembly. It's a TRD off-road. So I would hope that it's being one of the higher exterior trim levels, that it's put together a little bit better.
You would think so.
And so I'm like, looking at this thing, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not too impressed. And then we get in the interior, and it was one of the lower interior models.
Okay.
Trim models. So cloth interior everywhere, this tiny, tiny little infotainment screen.
Yeah.
And we were just really unimpressed by all of it, really. And then like they put the grab handle in the center console the way the Broncos did. And I grabbed that, and like I could shake the entire center console. And I was like, dude, this is not good, Toyota. What do you, I would take this off the lot immediately if it were me, but like, whatever, you guys can do what you want. And ultimately what ended up being the killer for it was I sat in the driver's seat, set it to where I would need to drive it. And then I sat in the back seat and I couldn't get in.
Really?
Yep. It's that tight on leg space.
Wow.
Which means if I can't get in, we can't get the baby's car seat in there. And so I was talking with Brennan about that, and I was like, I can't get the car seat in. Like, that's a deal breaker. And Brennan's like, that seems dumb that they would make a car you can't put a car seat in. I was like, well, you can put a car seat in, but then I can't sit in the front seat when the car seat is in. which means my wife, who's 5'10", is also going to be smashed into the dashboard if we put a car seat in there and we're traveling anywhere. So I was like, it's not feasible.
Right.
So more cargo space in the 4Runner, but that's because the back seat is really far forward. And maybe another symptom of this is because it was the hybrid setup. So I know that in the hybrid setup, the back seat is pushed a little forward and the cargo area is raised a little bit because they have all the battery packs for the hybrid system there. So I don't know if we went with the gas drivetrain, if the back seat would be pushed back a little further and have more space there.
Interesting. Yeah.
But they didn't have one for us to check out. The guy that we were talking to didn't know. So that's all I have to report on.
Got it.
Other items we want to be looking at still are the Highlander.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Grand Highlander as well.
Oh, never
I
heard
guess
of it.
I haven't either, but it's like the Cherokee and Grand Cherokee, I guess. So Highlander, Grand Highlander, he said that from talking with us, he goes, "You guys want the Grand Highlander for sure." And I was like, "Cool. Do you have one here?" He goes, "Nope." I was like, "All right,
yeah,
all right. I guess we'll go check out in Roseville or something."
Come on up.
Yeah, right. So we're looking at those two on our list right now to check out still. Highlander, Grand Highlander, looking at the trim levels of the Passport. And I've been seeing commercials popping up that Nissan is releasing a new Armada.
Oh.
With the Pro 4X package.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know that in Australia, Nissans come with some massive axles.
They do.
And with the Armada being their big SUV, having the Pro 4X package, there might be some big ass axles under that. So I think I'm going to add, just to go at least take a look at one of the new Armadas with the Pro 4X package, just to kind of see what's going on there.
That'd be cool.
It looks good. It looks like a Range Rover.
Do you think those look good?
I like that boxy look of SUVs. Yeah.
Okay.
Boxy, but with like updated body lines, less 90-degree angles, more angled angles, but boxy still.
Dawn,
I like that look.
Message Tyler at SnailTrail4x4 for a future interview for Rovers After Dark.
Yep. So yeah, the considering going and looking at a Nissan Armada, and then what else was? I think that's it mainly on our bucket list to look at right now.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
yeah,
You're going larger than I would have expected you to go.
I agree.
What
we
about
are going larger than I was expecting us to go too, because we were originally thinking about Subaru Foresters.
Yeah. Or I was, yeah. And I know I'd mentioned RAV4s before, but you said no, you guys said no to that.
Yeah.
But that's the size of what you were thinking. I'm also shocked that because when you were talking about the Passport, that I was like, well, what's smaller than the Passport? And I'm like, is it the CRV? Is there nothing in between the CRV and the Pass?
The Pilot's their big one.
Yeah, the Pilot's the large one. And then it's CRV, which we have two CRVs in my extended family. With my parents have a CRV and we have a CRV. And I don't consider those big.
No.
Like they're small.
Yeah.
I feel like they're tiny and the Passport is big.
I agree.
And there's nothing in the middle.
I don't know. I don't think there is. I don't think they have kind of that a quote unquote mid-size crossover, mid-size SUV. So I could be wrong. I don't know enough about the Nissan line or the Honda line either. So yeah. I
don't know, but that's interesting that that it's set up that way, I think.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, what about the Bronco Sport?
She's kind of pissed at Ford right now.
Okay.
So I'm
valid.
like,
There's no roof on that. I mean, it's a solid roof.
I know,
on
it's
that
a
one.
solid roof. My sister is looking at a Bronco Sport right now. She sent me a bunch of questions over the weekend about Bronco Sports versus Subarus and their drivetrain systems, their all-wheel drive systems. And so I explained to her, I said, all-wheel drive is awesome, but there's still a chance that you can end up doing a one-tire fire with all-wheel drive.
Yes.
It's very rare. It's more likely that you'll end up doing two-wheel fires with an all-wheel drive system. But I said it's very, very possible if you get in the situation. So really what you want to look for is the vehicle's ability to do torque vectoring. Each company kind of calls it a different technology, but you want to check and see which company can resist the ability to have the power just go freely out to the tires. How does the vehicle manage power to the tires with traction?
Yes.
And so she found a bunch of videos of the rollers tests where they put vehicles on rollers, like on rollers on opposite corners, rollers on the front, rollers on the rear, and see how well the vehicle gets off the rollers.
Okay.
In the different situations. The Subaru crushed it.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then Bronco Sport had some issues. She found one video that crushed it and then one video that did not do, and ultimately made it off.
Yeah.
But it took it a while of the vehicle. You can hear the ABS system going for quite a bit before it was able to get off. And I think what that was the Bronco Sport that was having troubles was specifically listed as a 2023. And I think the video that was posted of the Bronco crushing it was from 1 year ago, which means it would have been one of the 25 Broncos that you got to go see, one of the new releases.
Yeah.
So I think Bronco, they upgraded the torque vectoring technology in the Bronco Sport since the 23 models.
Right.
But she sent me a picture of the Bronco that she wants to get, and it's the Toyota Bronco.
Oh.
The one with all the red, the orange, yellow transition colors on it. She sent me the picture of it, and I was like, that's a Toyota Bronco. She goes, I know, it's so cute. And I was like, all right.
Yeah. So, I would say probably Subaru unless she's going to get a new Bronco Sport. That's, I think that's the end. Like, if you're going to get a Bronco Sport, you have to get the 2025 or newer.
Yeah.
But because they've done so many upgrades to it, and all the traction control from the Bronco is now in the Bronco Sport with all the GOAT modes and everything. It's hands down better than the 2024.
That's good to know. I'll relay that to her because I wasn't sure, so I didn't mention it.
No, you can get the black, the Sasquatch edition. On the Bronco Sport.
Oh, geez.
Now.
Yeah.
Right. With upgraded suspensions and everything and all the GOAT modes and more because they keep adding them. And so you can get all that fancy tech. And that was my question. Oh, anyway, all the fancy tech now is in the Bronco Sport that was started in the Bronco.
Yeah.
And my big question to them was, do you think you're going to hurt your sales with the Bronco by adding all this stuff into the Bronco Sport?
Yeah.
Because it's like $20,000 less than a Bronco. And their thing was, it's just hitting a different demographic. These people don't want to go very deep into the wilderness, and the people buying the Bronco want to go very deep into the wilderness. And so if you want, depending on what you want to do, is going to determine which one of these you are going to buy.
That's fair. I can see that. The regular Bronco's got a solid rear axle. Everything, all the drivetrain components are beefed up more.
Yep.
You get bigger tires ability under them, so more ground clearance. Whereas you still get the off-road technology just in weaker components and smaller tires and smaller ground clearance.
Yeah.
On the Bronco Sport.
Yeah. They also spoke highly on. They showed a few different things about the skid plates that are on the Bronco are like double the Toyotas and Subarus.
Oh, wow.
Thickness wise. And so the Bronco Sports undercarriage can be protected more.
Wow. Nice.
Than some of the other vehicles out there.
I'll have to pass that along.
And you can it comes stock with the largest tires in its class.
Okay.
So bigger tires than the Subaru.
I'll have to pass that along to her and tell her to go listen to the episode.
Yeah.
From your feedback on them. So, that's kind of where we're at on it.
Now it's buying a new vehicle versus buying 1 or 2 year old vehicle pricing. So what do you want to do?
Yeah. Passport pricing came in lower than our Bronco was.
Yeah.
So, and that's with whatever trim level was on that one that we were looking at.
Okay.
I'm guessing once we bump up the trim level to something that we want to be a lot more comfy to drive around and go on longer trips on, it'll be about the same price as the Bronco was.
Got it.
So,
well, I'm excited to lift a Passport. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So I think that about does it for today's episode.
Yeah, I think so. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always get a hold of us. You can phone us and you can be a part of the snail mail episodes at 916-345-4744. Or you can always DM us, Jimmy, or I'm Jimmy's at SnailTrail4x4, Tyler's at 4x4 Toyota Tyler, or you can email us, Jimmy or Tyler at SnailTrail4x4.com.
Yeah. I like it a lot. Jimmy, any final words to wrap up this Monday for everybody?
I did not weld this time with the gas off.
Hey, improving. And with that, my friends, keep crawling.
I got one for you.
Oh, I got one for you.
You do?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
You're going to let me tell a joke?
No.
Oh.
How? And I don't even like this one. So that's how bad your jokes are.
My jokes are magical, Jimmy.
Uh-huh. They're on the other podcast if you guys want to go find it.
Yeah. It's the one we're putting on Spotify.
Yeah. How do you know when it's too cold to have a picnic?
How, Jimmy?
When you chip your tooth on your soup.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to take soup to a picnic, though?
I don't know. There's many flaws with this one. I don't like that one. Let's do another one.
Okay.
Or do you really have one?
I do.
You going to tell it?
I am.
Okay.
What is a pirate's favorite shot in basketball?
Ooh, okay. Am I trying to think this as a joke or a Tyler joke?
It's it's a joke. It's not a Tyler joke.
Oh, okay.
This is a Cody Starks joke.
Oh,
So that should give you an idea.
okay. He said it on dad, like the dad joke?
Uh-huh. Yep. Today.
I missed it. What is a pirate's favorite shot in
Basketball shot.
basketball
Yep.
shot? How about the 3-point shot, the foul shot, the free throw shot, the layup? I don't know.
The hook shot.
Ah, that's a good one.
Come on. Thanks, Cody.
Nice. Good job, Cody. I like it. I still think my favorite pirate joke is where does a pirate get his hook?
Where?
The second-hand store.
Yeah, that's right. I was trying to think of it as something like where does a bee keep his honey? Or where does the bee keep his stinger?
Yeah.
In his honey.
In his honey.
Yeah.
All right. We'll do this one another day.